Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer 40k Imperium magazine. As per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes a massive way to help the channel too. Now, this week we're on issue 39 of Imperium magazine and we get our second Adeptus Mechanicus Cataphront Destroyer mini. Pretty cool model, if I do say so myself. I really like it. It's a pretty cool one. It also does have the option, of course, to build it as a breacher, but you do not have a data sheet for the breacher, but you will be able to find them online, so it's not too bad. With this one, you can build it with different weapon options from what we used last time around as well, so it's really handy to do things like that with it. But yeah, really good stuff. I'm looking forward to building this guy up because I did actually enjoy building these kits. When I did my breacher, and I also did the last destroyer as well, so I had two. So really good stuff. Into the issue itself though, we are greeted by the Theatre of War, and this is Cyphus Battle Zone. So over the last few issues we have been going through the Cyphus Battle Zone arena, and now it is coming to its kind of a climactic battle. So despite the best attempts of the Adeptus Mechanicus and their allies to halt the Necron advance, the walls of Bastion Primus have been breached in multiple locations. As the Necrons press towards the Imperial Command Centre, the defenders prepare for the climactic battle for Cyphus. So, this is all about the siege of Bastion Primus. So the Necrons are pushing forward in their never-ending seeming numbers, using transdimensional infiltration from wormhole technology or even just portals themselves. They are bringing forth entire legions in one go to try and crush the Imperials that are shoring up the defences of Bastion Primus. So really good stuff. And quite interesting as well. So if you've been playing through the kind of narrative over the last few issues, this is your end game essentially for it, as it quite clearly says at the top of that page. And this is kind of what you've all been working towards, whether you're playing as the Necrons or you're playing as the Imperial forces. This is the kind of final defense essentially for it. So with this, you will have your battle record. So you can kind of decide on who is the victor and who is the loser, and you will have your end game over it as well. So it's all about activating the portal disruptors. So the outcomes of this issue's mission will impact the next mission. When you have played through the battle, record which army was the winner and which was the loser using the boxes below. So the loser will be the defender, and the attacker will be the winner. So in the next issue, so the winner of issue 39's mission will be the attacker in the next issue's mission. So quite good to look forward to, something really interesting, and it's quite good as well. So this will draw a line under this Theatre of War before we move into the next Theatre of War in issue 41. Then we also get a cool story, short story about the good old Blood Angels, one of the most iconic Space Marine chapters, in my opinion. They look fantastic, and of course being Blood Angels, that nice blood red, and having that kind of links to vampirism really within their kind of history, makes them very unique, although it's never really referred to as being vampirism, but it kind of is. Just like with Space Wolves, it is lycanthropy, which is werewolves in their kind of history, but really cool stuff. Anyway, they're going up against the Tyranids, who are, of course, these mindless, seemingly alien Xenos races that are monstrous in their own ways, and they look really cool, painted up in many different ways. Bright colours look fantastic on them. If you ever paint Tyranids, they can look fantastic with bright colours. And I have even seen people do aliens from the film Aliens, kind of colour scheme in there, so black and greys, and they look absolutely fantastic as well. So really cool stuff. But yeah, they all utilise their hive mind essentially with them, and push forward like that. So kind of like it is like the bugs from Starship Troopers in a lot of ways. So really cool. But that story is actually really, really good. It's a good read and quite enjoyable as well. So really, really nice to read that. Then we get some more information about some of the other Forge worlds. So these are some of the smaller Forge worlds of the Adeptus Mechanicus. So we have Triplex Fall. So this is a Forge of the Eastern Frontier. The Isolationists Forge world of Triplex Fall lies far away from the oversight of Terra and Mars. Its tech priests have developed secretive practices and withhold blessed blueprints even from Holy Mars. The archaeotechnological secrets possessed by the Triplex Fall are potent indeed. So the tech priests of Triplex Fall rank over the most far-flung of human settlements. They seek to unearth long-lost worlds settled during mankind's early expansion into the stars and uncover secrets that predate even the dark age of technology. So, they are a kind of a very isolationist, so they don't really give much of a monkeys about good old the rest of the Imperium in a lot of ways, and they just want to kind of pursue very, very old technology and kind of push their way towards that without having the oversight from Mars as well with them. So they're quite secretive. Then we have Demios. So the Demios was once a moon of Mars. When the decision was made to provide the Grey Knight Space Marine chapter with their own dedicated Forge world, potent technologies were used to spirit away the moon and relocate it in orbit above Titan, the Grey Knight's adopted homeworld. Since that time, the weapons required by the Emperor's demon hunters have been produced within the manufactoriums of Demios. This includes standard Adeptus Astartes armaments, as well as the specialist gear required to defeat warp-based foes. Each item forged upon Demios receives psychic wards atop the blessings of the Omnissiah to ensure protection against demonic taint. So, if you are painting up, for instance, Grey Knights, you might want to paint up Adeptus Mechanicus in the form of the Demios Forge World colour scheme because they are very, very closely linked, so they would be very, very potent allies with each other. So really, really cool stuff with them, and it's always nice to make sure to know which ones link together a little bit more regularly. Then we get Voss Prime. So Voss Prime's constant and remarkable output of weaponry and war machines is owed in no small part to their mining of the Mordon Belt. This vast field of asteroids has provided for the Voss Prime even over the many thousands of years that the Forge world has existed. So they have an interesting colour scheme, with it being that quartered red and yellow. They look very, very unique. They look very, very different. Very brightly coloured as well, so really, really cool stuff. But they look pretty damn nice as well. And then we also get Griffone 4. So the tale of Griffone 4 is a caution against the prideful and stubborn tendencies of the cult Mechanicus. Yet this is a warning unheeded, even by those of the Forge world who's escaped its doom. They remain determined to prove the might of Griffone 4 and still seek a new planet upon which to rebuild that which they have lost. So Griffone 4 actually lost their own Forge world, and now they are kind of travelling the stars, looking for the right place to set up again, and they should really have taken it as a bit of a lesson to not go too kind of greedy and kind of get over, and not do too much. But, it is what it is. So, but yeah, really, really good stuff and quite interesting to see as well. Then we've got our how to build guide for the Kataphron Destroyer. Very, very simple. You've built one before. This should be a slight doddle for you as well. But you will obviously have some extra options as well. So now you can build it with some different weapons. If you are going by the magazine, in all honesty, it's not a bad idea, because you have different options for your different weapons. So you have that super huge cannon that is on his shoulder, which looks really, really cool, and makes it just stand out a little bit better as well. So really, really good stuff there. And I must admit, that's probably how I'm going to build mine, in all honesty. Then your how to build paint guide, fairly simple. Just do it the same way as you've done before. You can't go wrong. Have a bit of fun with it. If you are, of course, using your good old the texture paint, but Astro Granite that we got last week, you can of course use Nuln Oil over the top to kind of darken everything down. You do not have to, of course. You can do it slightly differently if you wish to, entirely up to you. One of my little tricks as well with these type of bases, because they are quite large, you don't want it to just look really, really bare and empty. By all means, get some of your spare Necron heads from previous issues from the Necron Warriors that you haven't used, and you can glue them down to the base. Build up some Astro Granite around it, or any of your other texture pastes, or anything like that, and ground coverings, and it looks like it's half submerged, and you can have it looking pretty damn cool. You can just use a bit of scatter terrain, and it just makes the base stand out slightly differently as well, so it's just really, really cool stuff. But yeah, little tip for you there, and kind of a little handy one as well. But otherwise, when you're done, it should look something similar to that if you're following the magazine, or however you're painting it, but it will look really, really cool. And then next week, we will have another destroyer as well, which will look very, very similar, but with just some different weapons, but really, really good stuff. Then we get more of our core rules, and of course, so over the course of the magazine, the idea is that we get essentially the whole of the core rule book, without all the fluff behind it, because that's in different parts of the magazine anyway. And yeah, so really, really good stuff. So with this one, we get some information about the morale phase, and how to do morale tests, as well as other bits and pieces as well as checking the unit's coherency as well. And then finally, we get our battle for this week. So the battle for this week is Place the Disruptors, and you will be referring to the rules for reference on this as well. The idea is though that you are using 1 Technomancer, 10 Necron Warriors, 5 Immortals, and your Tomb Blade if you are playing as the Necrons. If you're playing as the Adeptus Mechanicus, you'll be using 1 Tech Priest Dominus, your Tech Priest Enginseer, 10 Skitarii Rangers, and 2 Cataphron Destroyers. You lay out your battlefield with your good old conduits, the buildings, and the Heliotrope reactor as well. The idea is that the Adeptus Mechanicus can only win if they capture 1 or both of the good old control points. The Necrons basically just have to push and make sure that the Adeptus Mechanicus don't hold their control points. That's it. Fairly simple, but effective battlefield. Of course, the winner of this battle will decide whether they are the attacker or defender next week. So really, really cool stuff. Then, of course, next week we have the Fall of Cadia in there. We'll get information about the Salamanders chapter, which is another one of the Space Marines chapters. Pretty cool as well. And we get our biggest mission as well. The mini, though, is the 3rd Cataphron Destroyer, so it should be good fun. Then issue 41, we get a Chronomancer from the Necro range, so another HQ unit. We also get information about the Death Guard, and we proceed into one of the new war zones within the 41st millennium. Really, really cool stuff. A lot of good stuff to look forward to in the coming issues as well. The Adeptus Sororitas are on their way as well, so fantastic times. I'm really looking forward to these guys, and I'm quite excited to get my hands on them because I do like the Adeptus Sororitas. They look pretty damn cool, and yeah, should be really good fun to do. But yeah, happy days. So lots of good stuff to look forward to. Thank you very much for watching now, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye bye now.